Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Guild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Guile.
Hello, everyone out there in the world. This is Monique Guiled, futurist, turnaround, and development strategist. I get to work with people like yourself and people all over the world who are wanting to bring their businesses up to another level, who are wanting to turn around products or projects. I do have an inherited ability from my dad, who's a doctor, and he could have a patient walk in the door and tell you everything about that person before he opened his mouth. And my grandmother had something else going on, and we all got a little bit of something. I think it's really important for your kids and for yourself as an adult to begin to identify how is your intuition speaking to you. How do you hear that intuitive voice inside of you? Is it through just a gut feeling, gut instincts? Do you get like little flash pictures in your brain? Do you listen to what other people are saying, and all of a sudden it's like, they say God speaks through other people, the universe speaks through other people, and you can get your direction through other people. Just really paying attention to the different signs in the world, because we're always being guided. We're always being guided to our next step, and it's up to us to clear away what blocks us from hearing our intuition. Blocks like grief, resentment, negative thinking, anything that keeps us stuck in the past where we cannot hear what's happening right now and be in this moment. We can begin to heal those blocks, heal that negative thinking, those negative thoughts, all those old belief systems that don't belong in your present moment. That's where the gold is. You can create anything. I have seen people come from absolutely nothing and begin to create all sorts of amazing products and projects and things in the world. Today, though, we are going to be talking about parallel timelines. Your life, your choices. This is today's topic. Let me ask you something first of all, though. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? If you have asked yourself those questions and you want to talk some business stuff with me today, call me here at 504-556-9696. I love to talk business. I love helping people determine what their next step is or what may have them stuck in business. Now, what does this all have to do with a parallel timeline? What are parallel timelines? And let me ask you this question. Which parallel timeline will you call forth by your now mental rehearsal, mental focus? So your now mental rehearsal. I'm going to ask that question again. Which parallel timeline will you call forth by your now mental rehearsal? What does that mean exactly? Whatever you are rehearsing in your mind over and over again right now, you are literally staying on that exact timeline and nothing changes. Let's say you're rehearsing an old resentment, or you've got a grudge with someone, or let's say you're contemplating beginning a new business and you're looking into it and you're starting to research on Google and doing certain things, or let's say you just walked out the house and you had an argument with your spouse or your significant other, and you're going over that and rehearsing it over and over in your mind. That is a mental rehearsal. And on that mental rehearsal is a parallel timeline. Like you can choose to listen to this show, not listen to this show. You could choose to turn on the TV, or you could choose to stay tuned in here and learn something new, which causes you to have different choices, think different thoughts, maybe speak differently today. You might speak to somebody later today and say, yeah, this woman, Monique Giles, she was talking about parallel timelines today. What the heck is that? But that conversation is a conversation you would not have had if you had not listened. So it calls forth a new parallel timeline. Which parallel timeline will you choose to engage today mentally? What's worked for you in your contemplations thus far? You will know what dream, or as I call them, intuitive goals, materialized so far for you this year. I'm going to say that again. Which parallel timeline will you choose to engage mentally today? Now, if you stop and you take a look and you think about, when we stop and take a look at things and we look at what's worked for us so far this year, in the first 4 months of this year, what things that you've contemplated, things you've chewed on, things you've thought about seem to be working for you and your dreams that you have for yourself, or as I said, intuitive goals, your soul's purpose goals. And that's something I'll talk about in a minute, but what's materialized for you so far, just from your contemplations of something, a vision you have for yourself or a dream you have for yourself. So that you can, by examining that and saying, I've been thinking about X, Y, Z, and this is starting to happen, that's how you'll know you're engaging mentally a parallel timeline that you want to call forward. And then what hasn't worked for you in your contemplations? And you're going to know this by what has showed up because of fear-based thinking and not tuning into your inside self. So it's important to look at what's working through just mental rehearsal, through your mental thoughts, your daydreams, your things you write about, things you contemplate. So it's really important to take a look at what, the things that you're contemplating that are starting to show up in your life, things that you want, and the things that you're thinking about, and you're creating more of that, and you're staying on the same old parallel timeline, not a parallel timeline. You're staying on the same old timeline you've always been, and nothing's changed. So you know that those contemplations, and generally they are always something to do that keeps you stuck in the past, because there's no way to hear how you're being guided in this moment if the past has you snagged in any kind of way. So which parallel timeline will you want to be in conversation about today? Which parallel timeline will you want to be already in vibration? So when you're in conversation today, you're going to be calling forth people, places, events, opportunities that are of a future timeline that you'll end up bringing into your now, as opposed to dragging the past into your present. When you begin to speak about and contemplate and engage mentally and rehearse mentally, and who you're in conversation with, I cannot tell you. It is so important to be aware of who you are in conversation with and what you're talking about. And if they are talking about something that you would actually want to call forth in your own life, something to really, really contemplate. Like, how often are you in conversations with people about their state of affairs, their businesses? Oh, they hate their work. Oh, the drama, the this, the that. Pay attention, because you're going to end up bringing that into your life. You're going to call forth their timelines. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Isn't the price a little too high to pay if you have a dream or a vision for your own life? So it's really you're starting to become aware of what you want to do within your own self. So here we are. We're at WGSO 990 AM. I am Monique Giles. I'm a futurist, turnaround, and development strategist. And we're talking about parallel timelines, your life, your choices. And I'm wanting you to really become aware of the conversations that you are having today within yourself or conversations you're having with other people. And do you really want to be engaged with these conversations? Is it worth it? We'll be back after I'm looking for you. This is Monique Giles, business intuitive.
This is Monique Giles, host of the Monique Giles Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Welcome back to the Monique Giles Method Radio Show here. We are discussing parallel timelines, your life, your choices, here on WGSO 990 AM. And if you'd like to call in, you can reach me here at 504-556-9696. I love to talk about turning around businesses. I love to help you if you have any questions on if you're stuck in business, contemplating a new career move, or how to bring your business up to another level. Give us a call here. Love to hear from you at WGSO 990 AM, 504-556-9696. So now getting back to, so some of you may have just joined us and heard the topic of parallel timelines, your life, your choices. And you may ask yourself, what in the heck is she talking about, this parallel timeline? Well, I'm going to give you an example of how to explain this. You could have chosen not to open your emails today and seeing that I was on, be on the radio today, or gone to your computer, and you could have chosen a whole different other host of possibilities. You could have checked your emails. You could have gone out for a run. You needed to answer a call. There's a plethora of other possibilities that you might have chosen today that have happened, but you decided to go ahead and listen to this station, listen to me, what I'm talking about here. And that choice causes a whole host of new potential possibilities to occur. A new existing timeline. You are on a new existing timeline because you're going to gain new information right now that's going to cause you to contemplate and think differently. You may hear me speak about something that you've never heard before, which is going to cause you to contemplate differently or maybe take different actions in your business today. And who knows, you may decided, hey, I'm going to pick up the phone and call Monique and talk to her about this parallel, stuff and see what she's really up to here. It causes a whole different, your choices that you make. If you've heard this saying, you can continue to keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. But when you begin to contemplate the unknown and contemplate and be in rehearsal in your mind of something new that you've never thought of, just the act of thinking new thoughts calls in. I know it sounds really like, how can thinking new thoughts call in new people, new places? Because what happens is you thinking new thoughts, you fire pictures in the frontal lobe of your brain. And that stuff gets registered by the lower cerebellum of the brain. And that part of the brain is connected to the quantum field. And when you think those thoughts, there's all these potential possibilities always percolating. But when you think new thoughts, the possibility of what you're thinking, it's like it pops up from the quantum field and you begin to call forth that reality. Now that can be in your contemplations, or you're thinking about your dream and envisioning what a new future would be like for yourself. Or it can also be when you're engaged with a partner and what you all are talking about. So it all starts right now. Right now, you can begin again. There is no such thing as it's too late. It's over. I've wasted so much time. No, all that is. Those are distractive thoughts. They are absolutely 100% distractive thoughts. What you really should be thinking about, what you really get to think about, what are the distractions that are keeping me from my contemplations? Ask yourself, what are the distractions in my life that are keeping me from new contemplations? Distractions like maybe it's a relationship you're in and it's not a progressive one and it's not moving you forward in your life and it's just the same old, or maybe it's you're so stuck in the past because of resentments. Resentments are the biggest dream killer in the world. I'm going to tell you right now. Resentments and allowing other people's behaviors that happened in the past to affect you now. Things you may be pissed off about that people have done or actions they've taken, or maybe somebody lied to you, cheated you, somebody, whatever that may be, that stuff is so stuck in the past, it's impossible to hear what moves you're making now. And allowing those your new contemplations, your new thought process to pop in. So really take a look at all that. What is taking you out of this now moment, okay? By becoming aware of what is in your constant mind chatter, it's so important. What is that constant, ticker tape of thoughts that are keep running where you're somehow... It's the same old thoughts you've got, just that constant mind chatter. Become aware of that. Instead of a reality check, you might need to have a contemplation check. People say, oh, Monique, you're not in reality, or Monique, or somebody says to you, oh, that dream is just too far-fetched. You're just not being realistic. Well, I'm saying good. Don't be realistic. Get out of your reality. Get out of the same old thought patterns you've been in for years or even a month. Get out of the same old. Do whatever you have to do to begin to think differently. When somebody says to you, oh, that's the craziest idea I've ever heard, or who do you think you are to want to become that? I was listening to Steve Harvey the other day, and he was talking about, I think it was his kindergarten teacher. And she had asked all the kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they all, said the common things. And Steve Harvey was the last to go. And he says, I want to be on TV. And she's like, and she called him up to the front of the room. She humiliated him and said, who do you think you are? You want to be on TV. He says, I don't know, but that's just what I've got inside of me. I want to be on TV. And she really chastised him and put him down. But when he went home and told his dad, you have to go and listen to what his dad said. I'm not going to repeat it here. But his dad really encouraged him to become who he was meant to be. He's like, son, if you want to be on TV, you can be on TV. And so every year now, since that time, he sends his kindergarten teacher, I don't know if she's still alive now, but for years, he sent her a TV every single year. I mean, this guy, you can't help but see him on every day somewhere on TV or on radio. So when you have a vision or a dream or something that you have not brought to fruition yet, doesn't mean it's not going to happen. What you get to do is check your reality. Check your dream of the new reality. Really get into, are you thinking more about that dream and that contemplation, or are you thinking about all the naysayers and what they said, or, oh, it's too late, or, oh, this can't be done? Really take a look at what are you thinking about more than where you want to go into your future. Anything you're thinking about more than your future reality, and especially if it's a distraction, negative thoughts, resentment, grief, all that mess, get rid of all that. Do whatever you have to do to heal that and move into your now forward. Meditation is crucial. Meditation and journaling for me every single day are staples. I must do it. I must bring myself into the present moment in order to help my clients and myself move forward. So if you haven't started some sort of meditation situation, or just simply breathing, coming back to your breath. And I always, when I have my clients, we'll all begin with 10 minutes of meditation when I'm teaching workshops. And we inhale 1, and we exhale 2, and we inhale 3, and we exhale 4. And I'm having them see the numbers come up in their mind's eye. So they inhale 1, and the number 1 comes up. And they exhale number 2, and they blow out 2. And the idea is to get to 10 without a thought entering. And if a thought enters, or you think of your to-do list, or you don't even know where you are, you just gently bring yourself back to 1. Meditation is so important. If you have any questions about that, call me here, 504-556-9696. Anything to get you back into your now, get you out of the past, get you in your present, contemplating that future reality, engaging that future more than anything else in any other distractive thoughts or people, places, and so on in your life. It all starts with right now. But by becoming aware of what is your constant mind chatter, become aware of that, because those are pictures that are getting formed in your brain, and you're beginning to attract in the same circumstances or new ones depending on your contemplation. So what's running in your brain rampantly, like a ticker tape? Stop and think about it. Think about even the thoughts you've had this morning. Were they the same old thoughts you've always thought? Or were you contemplating new thoughts in the dream of where you're going? I'd like you to stop and make a list. When we go to commercial break, stop for a moment, make a list, stop and evaluate, where have your thoughts been this morning? What have you been chewing on this morning? Have you been sitting and writing and thinking about new ideas for your life? Have you been contemplating the new product you're bringing into the world, or the new dream, or the next step? Even if you have no idea where you're going, are you beginning to think new thoughts?
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method radio show here at WGSO 990 AM. We are talking about parallel timelines, your life, your choices. And if you'd like to call in here, 504-556-9696. Love to hear from you. So where we left off before the break, I was asking you what ticker tape is running rampantly in your brain, a ticker tape of thoughts. And are those thoughts of your future and what you're creating in your dreams, your goals, in your products or projects, new inventions that you have? Or are they thoughts that are so stuck in the past with anger, resentment, just the state of affairs in the world, the state of affairs in your life, in your relationship? What are you allowing how are you allowing your thoughts to have your way with you, as opposed to you having your way with your thoughts? That's what's key here. It's important because those thoughts, each thought that you think is actually a chemical. As we think of thought, a chemical gets released in the body. And if it's a certain way of thinking, that is a neurological program in your mind, which carries a whole host of chemicals with it, which your body is accustomed to. And when you're creating a new reality, when you're creating something that you've never done before, or you're stepping into an unknown, your body starts to freak out. It's really the neocortex of the brain that starts saying, warning, warning. I don't know what you're stepping into. I don't know what these new contemplations are, but I'm going to keep you safe, stuck in the same old routine, stuck in the same old. And so I'm really asking you today to stop, take a look, and contemplate. What is running? What are you mentally rehearsing? What's those thoughts like behind the scene that are unconscious, that are constantly chattering, that you're not even aware of? It's so important to become aware of that, because that is going to be the timeline that exists right now. You're on this timeline. If you're here listening to this show, you're listening, you're taking in new information, which is going to cause you to think different thoughts. And because of that different contemplative thinking, you will call forth new experiences in your day today. I promise you, something new will show up today as a result of learning something new that you may have gotten from listening to this show. So I wanted everyone to stop, take a moment, make a list of any thoughts that you were having today. Were they the same old, or were you in contemplation of things you've never thought about before? For example, you can be thinking about your relationship and how great it is or not so great it is, and how you feel about it, or your business partner with whom you're really pissed off with because they forgot to send off the architectural design thing or something. They're running behind. Or your child who's out of control. Or maybe how great you feel about this new project you're thinking about developing and how that feels. Or maybe your future that you're so excited about, like you're so happy to be engaging in new reality and you're excited about. It's like when you got your first bicycle when you were a kid, or your first girlfriend or boyfriend. It's all you could think about until you saw that person. Are you in that place of being so excited about where you're going? Or you could be thinking about your new relationship and how thrilled you are to be in a new relationship. And you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to see them. Or I'm so excited about hearing from them. Or maybe you're in development. You're creating a new project. You're developing a new show, a new TV show. And you're thinking about the characters, and you're thinking about engaging with these new exciting people that you're working with now. It's all a choice. You have a choice with the thoughts you think. You have a choice to think differently. But it's about learning to override those chemicals that your body is addicted to. And the best and the fastest way to do that is to get into something new. Start going just even a bite size at a time. Go towards what interests you. Get a book from the library and study. If you loved space as a kid, or you loved, you were a science person, or you loved mathematics and you ended up becoming an English teacher, go and get something and start reading. Do anything to just take a bite size towards what you love to do. It's all a choice. Again, remember, you have the power to choose what you're going to focus on or what you're going to mentally rehearse over and over and over again, and what you'll inevitably call forth in your own life. So which parallel reality will you choose to make your life all about today, all about for the rest of this month. I mean, give yourself till April, to the end of April, to think about something new. Just be intentional every day about contemplating the what ifs. What if I took action? What if I started something? What if I just went in that direction? Just getting into those contemplations will begin to call forth new timelines. It's amazing what starts to happen when we make different choices in our thoughts, because it all starts now. Whichever reality you choose, the one you're going to rehearse, that's the one that's going to be activated. Who you're going to be in conversation with or about, with yourself or others, you will think about, therefore, live about and vibrate in and call forth in your own life. Remember, if you're speaking with other people or you're going over with family, like family stuff, that's always can be a bugaboo for people. People are like, oh my God, I can't believe she did so-and-so, or, oh, this or that, or having resentment towards anyone in the family is just, oh Lord, it's a whole can of worms with itself, and because it's so tied to your heartstrings. So I'm going to ask you these questions right now. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? And contemplating that today, how far can my business go? If I had $1 billion and I could just shoot it off like a rocket into, had everything you ever wanted to create your business, how far can it go? What would be your dream, ideal place for your business to be in? Sit down, write about it, contemplate it. What would it feel like? What would it look like? Who would you have working for you? What would you be discussing with your partners or your employees? What direction would you be giving them for the day? What type of people would you be hiring? Get into these contemplations, and really ask yourself, what are your true strengths? If you're a builder and you love building or you love design, or I remember I worked with a mom, and she always loved decorating houses, and she'd always been a mom. But her husband would come in and say, "Oh, we're just going to move. We're moving. We're going down to so and so," and she'd have to go in and prepare that next house for so her husband could entertain and have clients and all this sort of stuff. But she loved decorating. So when we met, she wanted to become a stager for homes, and she'd never done that. And there was this amazing house in Pasadena, California, called the Pickford, and they needed a stager, and we were working together for quite some time, and she ended up getting the job to do it against all these other people that had years of experience. It's something she loved to do, but she did have the experience. She had lots of experience, and it's something she was really passionate about. So, what are your true strengths? Because those two strengths, they can be used. I promise you, start contemplating this stuff. And then asking yourself, how can you apply those strengths to what you could really be doing in your career? The strengths, the things that you love to do, that you do it naturally. You would do it for free, quote unquote. That you just love doing it. And if you're stuck and you're not sure why, you take a look at the distractions. Are you addicted to something? Alcohol, or is there somebody in your family who might have some type of addiction, whether it be drugs or alcohol or whatever it could be? Are you having to save the day for them? Are you having to rush in and put out fires and emergencies constantly for that other person or yourself? Join us back here after the break. We'll continue on. This is Monique Guild Method Radio Show, WGSO 990 AM.
This is Monique Guild, host of the Monique Guild Method. I will be taking callers Wednesdays at noon on WGSO 990 AM. And I want to help you unblock your business issues, turn around, and develop what's next.
Guild Method Radio Show here on WGSO 990 AM, where we're talking about parallel timelines, your life, your choices and really beginning to become aware of what is the ticker tape running rampant in your head. Is it of a future reality that you're creating and calling forth, or is it of the past or maybe present circumstances that you just don't like and you just keep thinking about it over and over and talking about it over and over again? Become aware of that, because that's where, it takes focus to create a new reality. But, of course, it's like a no-brainer. Of course, it takes focus to create a new reality. But not only do you want to create a new reality, you want to call forth an entirely different new timeline that has different people, different circumstances, different situations, different opportunities. And so the more you are in line, and I coined the phrase intuitive goals, your soul's purpose goals, and beginning to hear how your inside self is guiding you, and then intuitively being guided with, how is your intuition guiding you in staying on track with your intuitive goals? I've taught a workshop for years called the Intuitive Goal Workshop, and it's all about in 10 areas: mentally, physically, spiritually, career, financially, fun, education, material, relationship, and contribution. How do you want to see yourself like 2 months from now in those 10 areas? And I have my clients set those intuitive goals as if they have already happened. And because what that does is it begins to form different pictures in the brain, and you begin to, when you set these intuitive goals and you begin to heal what blocks you from hearing how your intuition is guiding you, it's amazing the stuff that begins to happen. It's new opportunities, new people, new places, situations start to percolate up. And because you free your mind and you empty the trash out, so to speak, and allow new space to come in to have new thoughts of the contemplations of the future reality that you're creating. And the more you get into that, the more you're surrounded by people who are of like mind. It's like you start all humming together, and it calls forth new opportunities, experiences, and timelines quicker. But it all begins with the mental rehearsal. What's a constant ticker tape in your brain, and who are you listening to on an ongoing basis and what they're talking about? Life happens. Accidents happen. People's bad behavior happens. Elections happen. The world at large. But which will you choose to engage in or stay focused on? What are you making your life all about today through your mental rehearsal, or what you're listening to? Listening to the constant ticker tape of the news or this or that or all these different things, but it's going to happen. The world is, it's happening. It's always been this way. This is not new. But your life is important. What you do, what you want to do, what you want to create, your dreams, your visions, your goals, everything that you wanted to create in your life is important. It all matters. It matters just as much as all that other stuff. And so are you going to be in more contemplation about that, or will you be in contemplation about other situations in your life? And it's really important to start taking a look at what are you contemplating? What is it that you continue to think about and mentally rehearse? And I really suggest you get out a piece of paper, you write down all the possibilities, the great stuff, the exciting stuff, the stuff that is of your future, the things that when you think about, oh my God, if this happened in my life, this would be the most exciting thing that could possibly happen, or the stuff that you're not so excited about. Half a page, take a full sheet, one piece of paper, write down all the things that would be so exciting. And then on the other sheet, write down what the ticker tape is, that those thoughts that are running rampant in your brain that just you keep rehearsing mentally over and over and over again. The one reason why I can speak to this and the experience I have with this is that I come from a background where there was a tremendous amount of chaos. There was a lot of addiction. There was chaos. There was in the media for a year and a half. everybody knew our business. I had to know the good guys from the bad guys. I had to, I'm talking CIA, FBI, and so on. I'm not talking like anything lightweight here. And I, thank God I had the wherewithal within myself. By the time I was 17, went to college. I went to LSU for 2.5 years, and I never looked back. And I kept going. Ended up in New York, and then I went to Los Angeles, and it was the best thing I could have ever done. Getting out of the environment, getting out of the same old, and creating new realities constantly on an ongoing basis. And I know that many of us don't have the luxury of that, but you do have the luxury to start healing the distractions in your own life. You do have that luxury. I don't care what. There are so many resources out there that can help you that are free. Whether you're involved with somebody who has an addictive personality and they're drinking too much, there's Al-Anon out there, or if you're a person who, is just anything you're doing to numb out, there are things that are there for you that are free and that will help you override your circumstances. You don't have to be stuck in the same old, unless you just don't really care and you're okay with it. That's fine. It's just, but you want to make sure you're choosing your reality and your reality's not choosing you. You understand? That's really important. You want to make sure you're choosing your reality and your reality's not choosing you. So get out that piece of paper, write down the great things you're contemplating. And I feel it is essential to write it all down, the recurring contemplations. Do you have more recurring contemplations of the future possibilities that are existing, or are you contemplating things you've never thought of? Out of all that you list, ask yourself, which parallel timeline do you want to call forth right now? What do you want to be in mental rehearsal with right now? What do you want your thinking to be about today? Do you want to choose the reality of disappointing events that occur in the world, or do you want to choose the reality of developing one of your projects? Which one do you have the most control over and feels like the most exciting potential future timeline that you could ever have and that you could ever observe forth? Really something to ponder. And it's really important because it's your life. This is your life. Welcome to your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. You're here and you get to move into things that you envision for yourself or that dream that you always have had. You get to move in that direction. It's what you're supposed to do. It's what you get to do. Just allow yourself to do it. And it all starts becoming aware right here, right now. This is Monique Guild. This is the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. If you'd like to reach me, you may do so at Monique@MoniqueGuild, GUILD.com. And you also may call the office at 310-614-0946. Thank you so much for joining me today here on the Monique Guild Method Radio Show at WGSO 990 AM.